creeps and creatures? Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Spooky. This is episode 6. This is a fun one. This is a special one. We're going to revisit the 2002 M. Night Shyamalan classic, Signs. And what better place to talk about Signs than Newtown, Bucks County, right where the movie was filmed, at least the part on State Street, which is about half a mile from where I live. We could walk there. So I couldn't think of a better place to represent this movie. Very great movie as far as I'm concerned, so I wanted to film it here. But we have two very special guests. We have the little girl Abby from the movie over here. Hi Abby. How you doing?
Oh, Abby, how old are you now?
No, don't worry. We could read your thought. We can't read your thoughts right now because you have that tinfoil hat on. And also over here we have the star, the villain of the movie, Ursula. Hi, Ursula. Shut the fuck up, I said. All right, take it off. It's Brad.
It's Brad. Surprise,
yeah,
surprise.
we didn't really get that alien. You guys, all the listeners thought it was really an alien, but it's not.
That's crazy.
But you know what? I mean, some people could think it's an alien because that's up for debate now, isn't it? So, Congress recently came out with all this UFO stuff. So that maybe changes the dynamic of this movie. It could make it spookier. If it could be possibly real. Do you guys, before we talk about the movie Signs, do you even believe in aliens?
I would say I believe in aliens, sure. I mean, there's all these different animals that we have in this world. Why can't there be aliens?
Right.
There's got to be other beings somewhere on a different planet doing the same exact thing as us.
Right, but do you think they're like watching over us right now? Do you think they visit us? Or are they like 8 foot tall aliens with green arms? They're like 10 foot tall.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure there's something like that out
aliens?
there. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, okay, so I went down a fun little rabbit hole the other day, and we'll get into Signs. Don't worry, we'll get into it. I went down the rabbit hole of the multiverse the other day. So I think there's aliens of all different kinds everywhere. I think it's awesome. And when they come here, it's gonna be great.
Do you think it's like the flying disc saucers in the way it's portrayed in these movies? Do you think it's like Ursula, the mask you just had on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thought.
Ursula's hot.
Yeah.
Foil boy, what do you think?
What do you think, Abigail?
Well, I think I'm free to think whatever I want because I have this
That's true.
Innovative
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, very
I
high tech.
I don't know much about aliens, but I believe the whole tinfoil hat came from aliens being able to read your mind.
I'm not sure.
If this thing can work so well, let's give it a try.
Ooh.
What am I thinking right now?
That it would have been so much cooler if you took that off and your tips were frosted.
Exactly. That's what you're thinking.
That is going back to 2002. That's
I
all.
think you're thinking.
Let's take you all the way back. Where are your puka shells, pal?
You would have saved a bunch of money if you switched to Geico.
So, do you remember where you were when you watched this movie? Back in 2002?
Holy shit. So, this was what I wanted to talk about as soon as you said come back and do Signs. Summer 2002. For all you listeners out there, we used to illegally download music. I downloaded Signs in the middle of the night from Kazaa.
I remember that.
Kazaa. Hell yeah.
What a
56K modem. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. Family's asleep. I'm up in my room. I'm on this big, thick-ass monitor. Real, just shitty, grainy quality. Kazaa finishes.
CRT,
yeah.
720p.
It's been downloading all day. Open it up. Remember, we'll get into his character, but Joaquin Phoenix, when he's reading that news report, that was me watching Signs for the first time.
Yeah.
That Brazilian birthday scene we're going to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely shook me to my core.
What an awesome birthday party, though. Can you imagine being a kid? You'll never forget that.
You know what? It's really crazy with that movie is that like someone had a video recorder. Nobody had like cell phones to take videos yet.
Yeah.
And that was only 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. That movie was good though.
That's changed.
That scene that you mentioned, that like freaked me out too because there was such a suspenseful build up to it. And anybody who's watched the movie know what we're talking about. But I've talked to random people, and that's always seems to be the number one scene.
That just holds.
That holds.
So
well.
Bravo actually ranked it in the top like 100 scariest scenes of 2002. My question is like,
what else was that?
Who the fuck is ranking those films? Yes.
Well, I couldn't even tell you.
People like us right now.
But no, that honestly will always be imprinted in my brain. That scene.
So let's just jump into some quick facts. You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So before we get started,
because I could tell you facts about it as soon as you tell me because it's really was right here on State Street.
Yeah. So the movie was filmed in the Bucks County area on site because I think M. Night Shyamalan's from the Philadelphia area.
All his movies take in and around Philadelphia.
Yep. Released August 2nd, 2002, so it's a little over 20 years to the day almost that it's been around.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. Budget $72 million, box office $408. So this was I think his second or third major movie was Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and then this movie.
Yeah.
Box office
The movie stars Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix. We got Abigail Breslin right here. Rory Culkin. Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Yeah,
Culkin.
Brad was watching. He goes, "This kid looks just like Macaulay Culkin."
That was not me. That was Kareem.
No, that was you.
That was
That's
Kareem.
Brad.
Yeah, it was. That was him.
Yeah, that's a little research I did on this fucking.
If you do,
It looks just like the guy.
if you,
Yeah, I think he has two other brothers actually too.
if you Google a
River
picture
Phoenix
of
died.
Rory McCulkin, present day, he looks like Tommy Wiseau.
If you don't know who Tommy Wiseau is,
From The Room.
you
Don't
need to
worry
go see the
about
movie The Room. If you want a scary movie, well, not too spooky.
Don't worry
We
about
should
it.
definitely get into that
Yeah.
one night.
Maybe.
So Mark Ruffalo was supposed to be in the. I guess he was cast as the character that Joaquin Phoenix wound up.
Okay.
But he. I
Wait,
guess
who
he had-
was?
Mark Ruffalo.
I could kind of see
Ah, all
that.
right.
Makes
The
sense.
Hulk.
Yeah.
It just shows you how well they do casting. 'Cause It's like, oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And because we know we're from Bucks County, just to reiterate what Connor already said, the scenes of the house in the cornfield, they were shot on the campus of Delaware Valley Community College or Delaware Valley University.
Okay.
Del Val.
Del Val.
Right.
I got a buddy that's a professor up there. So if we ever wanted to go take a little road trip, we could.
I wonder if that house is real. I guess it is.
I'll ask him.
And then the scenes in the bookstore and the pizza shop, they were filmed in Newtown.
Which inside the book and record store has not changed. That's a real store. There's not many vinyl stores left. That's right on State Street, and you look right across the street, which was the Black Horse Tavern, where I used to work there. The bar's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But that holds up. The floor shop is still there, but I don't believe it's called. They still use Newtown in the title
right.
for like the jeweler. They used everything.
It's
But
pretty neat when you see that. Like,
But they had parking. I don't know if Newtown State Street ever had paid parking meters.
No.
That was my fact.
I was looking at that.
I was kind of like,
for the movie.
It looked
Well,
like
they
they
went
had, like,
diagonal.
they did.
but what's the point
And
of
it
that?
looked
Why
like
would
they had the
add
little
that?
cross because they probably didn't have them in the. It was probably going to cost them way too much to go and put those things in, dig them in, and then have to pull them out and change everything.
Or actually, just the shot
Wait,
of the film.
why-
And the shot of the film
Yeah.
would look
Why?
weird.
Okay, that's for the parking reason. Is you're talking?
Think about it. If you're if they pulled up to a curb, flat or like parallel parked into a curb, it's probably not going to be. You're not going to see as much of like Newtown. You're going to have a weird shot. If you pull them in sideways and have them all come into frame in the front, it's going to
What
look
do they?
better.
I just assume they block off the street.
No, they definitely added some Hollywood,
Completely. Aspects of
aspects
Newtown.
to it
Because
and-
there were some talks about them actually adding paid parking in Newtown, and this town really came together and like, no, that's not happening.
Well, actually, I think that's my
It was
biggest.
20 years ago, though.
yeah, it's
For
just never
everyone
been a
else
thing.
outside of like I guess 100 miles from here, I think
Yeah.
that's not real familiar with the whole Newtown area. So from reading about the movie, because they don't actually tell you, but the Wikipedia page says that they're from Doylestown,
Okay.
and so there's a lot of scenes where like they make it seem as though it's very small townish,
Farm,
and it's
rural.
It's like there is that,
There
but
is it.
but it's not really that small town of a. It's small of a town.
in the
Newtown.
record store,
Newtown?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen. If you're from Iran or from Germany, where some of our fans are from,
According to the tracking on Spotify.
we're cultured.
Where are you from?
We ain't no hicks.
But to that.
Well, there it goes. There goes a whole demographic you.
Let's not alienate half of our fan base.
I just
here.
spit took
Did you like
on
that,
my
Brian?
notes.
I did. I
Let's
love
not
that.
Alienate. No,
Kareem's going to be abducted, and you won't be seeing him on the show anymore.
I just spit took all over my notes, so
In-
now I am going to be riffing this whole.
It's fine.
Of
Actually,
course.
you know, they went to the small
even
town
more
aspect
fun.
of it.
Yeah.
In the actual bookstore, there was a record store. The lady says, "I'm tired of these city folk." I was like, "Wow, they must think Newtown really is
Right.
completely
Yeah.
that far away from Philadelphia."
Yeah, we're not in like the middle of. It's not the
She
middle
said,
of
"Oh,
the sticks.
yeah, do you have any books on aliens or something?" Yeah, I think I might have dusted one off, but I figured one of the city folk would come in and
city
read
folk,
this.
yeah.
And like,
Do you also notice how she knew exactly where that book was? She's like third aisle.
Oh, I
She
thought that was
goes
so
up.
weird.
Like what?
very fitting. And then there's
How did she know that? I was like,
well, then,
wow,
so
great
I
description.
Google mapped how far it is, from
that book.
Doylestown to Newtown, right? It's about 29 minutes from the Doylestown parking spot or
Right.
parking lot to Newtown. So you mean to tell me they drove 30 minutes to go to a pharmacy and eat pizza?
Well, actually, that was
What, in
Mom's
Hollywood?
At the time, that was called Mom's Pizza, which Mom's Pizza still is in Newtown. But they just moved right down the street, and it's a pizza shop where you kind of just make your own pizza, or you take it home to make it,
Okay.
type of deal.
It
So
just seemed
they
like-
used real places. Which
They
was kinda
did,
cool.
but I think knowing that
Yeah.
where we are,
That's actually a great
knowing
idea.
that we're from here, it's like a lot of the stuff isn't actually truly like
fine.
representative of what Newtown
But
really
you know,
is.
the Bucks County vibe is pretty legit, and M. Night does a good job.
Yeah, it feels. I agree
The
with that.
vibe of the movie is still very good. So overall, I think this is a very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like the music. I like the dialogue. You don't realize how weird it kind of was when
Yeah.
you go back and you watch an M. Night movie.
Yeah.
The way they talk to each other. So there were some really great scenes in this movie that kind of freaked me out from the get-go.
Oh yeah. So let's jump into it then.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We already have the cast. So the movie starts off with Mel Gibson. He's the reverend, or he used to the former reverend, and we get the understanding that his wife has passed away and he's no longer a reverend. I think he just doesn't believe in a higher power because how could God allow that to happen to his wife?
It sounds like his phone call that he made that one night.
And he lives in this nice, beautiful, I guess, farmhouse in this huge, sprawling acres of cornfields.
It's got a lot of land.
He doesn't have a job. I don't know how he's affording all of that, but he must do.
His
make
corn
money.
business is booming.
Corn business has got to be
Mel
booming.
Gibson's got a lot of money.
He does. You're right. And Joaquin Phoenix. So they're
Right.
probably the two best people
Passion
you want in
project.
your house, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it starts off with he can't really find his kids, right? And they're
Playing in the cornfield.
they're playing in the cornfield.
Even that first scream is kind of creepy.
Yeah, he
it
wakes
starts
up.
off.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he's going to the bathroom and he hears his kids scream and he goes outside because I think he's all worried. He doesn't want to lose another
Right.
family member.
But
I
before
think
that,
as a father, it actually, that to me, watching it back when we watched it originally and watching it now, I think it was weirder to watch now as a parent because that scream, it's like one of those things like you hear a scream come from your kid, you're running after it.
Yeah.
But imagine walking out of that field and all of a sudden you just see crops just down.
well, that's what we're going to talk about. But before that,
Ugh.
the score of this movie, it was very eerie the way it started off with all the cast.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, it was a really
That's
good
James
movie.
Newton Howard. He does a lot of the movies for Joaquin Phoenix.
Really good
What?
music.
No.
For
M.
M.
Night
Night
Shyamalan,
So
yeah.
he actually
He's
did
great.
Sixth Sense and
Yeah.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable
And
soundtrack's great.
I always say this: the score
That
can
is
make
a
or break a
great one.
movie.
For
Like,
sure,
that's what
for
brings
sure.
you in is the music. So
Oh, yeah.
like revisiting this movie, it still had that same effect. But when you get into a girl screams, they go out there and crop signs, right? So this is apparently a thing where crop is like
Crop circles.
Crop
Crop-
circles.
Crop signs? Did you just call it crop
Yeah,
signs?
crop
sorry,
signs,
Freudian
crop
slip. I'm talking about the movie signs.
Freudian.
But crop circles are a real thing, right?
Yes.
Like they've been happening.
Yeah.
They can't explain them.
People think they're a hoax, though. Like, there's a large community that believes in them. There's a large community that probably doesn't believe in it.
Now, let's just say you believe in UFOs. Do you
Yeah.
think that part is hoax? People are just doing it? Like, it's not actually aliens doing that. I mean, if you believe in aliens, but you don't believe, you could think that's bullshit, right?
I mean, I'll tell you, if I saw a crop circle appear into the middle of in the middle of like a field, and it wasn't there before, I'm gonna be weirded out.
Yeah, how it got
No,
there
the
overnight.
theory the cop lays out is the popular opinion on how to make a crop circle. You take a large board on a string,
Right.
and you're inside the circle, and you take the radius out, and you slowly bend the crops. That's how people have
So
done the
this-
hoax in the past.
Oh, so it has been done that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
but like, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
crop circles are not real. Yeah.
How long would it take to do that overnight?
You guys
anyway?
just got
They're
so
huge.
upset when I
Prove it.
said that.
No, I know that. But they're so big though. Like, how does how long would it take?
Well, come
to-
on.
You're
like-
gonna feel really bad come December when I got something to tell you.
What's in December?
What's in December?
Are you an alien?
Signs
That,
too?
that guy cannot fit down the
Oh,
chimney.
you quiet your mouth. You quiet your mouth for our young viewers.
Well, that's
Oh, I can't wait to tell your.
Can you imagine if someone found out that Santa Claus wasn't real because they listened to Way Too Spooky podcast?
But you know what? All right, I would say this. What
Is that annoyingly loud, Chris?
It is.
All right,
Yeah,
sorry guys, sorry
you're
listeners.
You're leaning in way too much. I'm sorry.
And I'm just naturally so fucking loud and
know.
annoying.
But
That's so true.
I'll have
Sometimes.
to fix it.
Not really.
Editing is beautiful.
actually, we're just gonna edit completely out. It doesn't really matter anyway. What you're saying.
We're actually gonna put. We're getting back to the score. We're gonna put Benny Hill in there.
Do you know what? Do you know what I found?
Wouldn't have the same film.
Do you know what I found interesting about this movie? Upon watching it, it was just like a couple years later, Scary Movie 3 came out, and I always confuse the scenes of what I remember.
So you expected the big hat?
Yeah, like the dialogue between the cop and the Mel Gibson, and like if you see anything weird or bizarre, let me know. And all I could think about is the scene where her hat just kept getting bigger and bigger. And like you're laughing about this movie because there's so many scenes at Scary Movie 3. I think they pretty much covered this movie more than anything.
Oh yeah, that was the main basis.
Yeah,
of
it
the
was.
movie.
Like that's,
Yeah.
I think they just covered that more than anything.
Leslie Nielsen was in it. Like, talk about a classic. The fact that they got Leslie Nielsen.
And
in
also,
it.
what's his face? Gosh, he's
Not Little Hand, not my germs. Oh,
Is Charlie Sheen in that?
Charlie
Sheen's in that.
Winter Sheen.
What's his name? Rex. Something Rex.
Yeah.
He plays the brother.
Oh, yeah,
Come
well-
out. Who does that?
Hey, yeah, come on. That's Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's in it.
Yeah, he's like, oh wow, you just
Also,
give us
like
some real shit.
in the context of Signs, that scene is so, like heavy, and it's like one of the most emotional scenes in the movie,
Oh my-
and it's just completely bastardized by Scary Movie. It's hilarious. and I
Completely agree with you.
Like you're watching
Yeah.
it, and you can't but think
And I
about
love-
Charlie
I-
Sheen,
And I love Scary
and he's
Movie
just on the curb. Tom,
I'm
gonna need a ride home. I mean, that is just absolute brilliant.
So, anyways, we're not talking about Scary Movie
Yeah.
3. We're talking about Signs.
We really just want to talk about Scary
So, I guess what shit starts to hit the fan. You're looking at you're focusing on Mel Gibson and his family.
Yep.
But you start to get little inklings that it's happening around the world, around the community, around the world.
But quickly, like it jumps into it.
Quickly.
Yeah.
And what I really like about this part of this movie, or they really, it doesn't age well in the sense that in now day and age you wouldn't have you have social media, you'd know everything immediately because everyone shares everything. And I think people wouldn't even be worried about their lives. They just want to get a picture of an alien so they can get as many likes as possible on social media.
Take a selfie.
Yeah. Oh, look at the selfie with the alien.
You're getting like a tornado warning, but it's like extraterrestrial warning.
So it's actually, I think you asked this question in the last episode with From Dusk Till Dawn, is that, if something like this were to happen, would we all band together?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was one of the last few generations before the internet where I think people would work together to try to help each other. It just wouldn't happen anymore. But so little by little, things start to just get worse and worse. And I like the fact that Mel Gibson's not really willing to accept the fact that could be happening. So they want to turn the radio off so the kids don't get scared.
Yeah,
And they just try to go about their normal lives, which is where they go into Newtown for pizza,
Yeah.
right, into the pharmacy. So just a really good movie. But I like as it progresses too. It kind of fitting. It's fitting with the way in which the pandemic has. Do you remember sitting in front of the TV and reading about everything happening with the pandemic, with COVID, and you're like,
No.
is this real?
I was like, I stayed home. I drank beer. I liked it. But
No, I hear you. There was a fixation with the
There
news
was,
media
there
cycle,
was.
24-hour
Yeah,
media
like,
cycle.
whoa.
it was news porn for COVID for a while.
And that scene you're alluding to, they're all as a family gathered around the TV, huddled. There's something collective in doing that, I think.
Yeah, like Joaquin Phoenix, I think.
Oh,
asked,
absolutely.
He asked Mel Gibson. He says, can you keep me safe like you used to? Like, this is a grown man asking that because I think everyone's just vulnerable. They're thinking, what the heck is happening?
Well,
You don't
Do you
think
guys,
this
remember,
is
do
gonna
you guys
happen?
remember the CNN COVID counter? This is so fucked up. Thinking back,
Yeah.
it was just it was like one of those tickers,
Like, why?
Like the clickers just like death just going up and up and up. It was so
It was
ridiculous.
so
I know this is
unnecessary.
at a
Imagine
pace.
if that was in this movie, you just saw the death count of all the UFOs poisoning people on the screen.
I know this is out of place, but in the first episode,
That's what they did. They poisoned people, right?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Connor and I mentioned what really got us into horror movies. I know this has nothing to do with science, but I think it might just help to drive it forward. But I said Halloween 2 was my first movie that really got me into, I think, scary movies. And you said Silver Bullet. But what would you say is your first scary movie that really you remember, as a kid or growing up, that got you to
That's a good question.
enjoy it?
The first movie I think that scared me was, I think it was Exorcist.
Exorcist.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that? It was
That's
the score. It was the score of that. But
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't watch horror movies really growing up. Now, every time I went to West Coast Video, shout out VHS,
That's right.
Silence of the Lambs.
Shout out
cover.
West Coast Video.
Yeah.
Shout out West Coast Video.
Hashtag Blockbuster.
Guys, send us
Our-
shirts.
our
We'll
biggest
wear them.
sponsor.
No, the cover of Silence
yeah.
of the Lambs
Epic
always
video.
creeped me out. My mom would always see me looking at that and say, like, just like shuffle along, like,
The
come on.
butterfly or something.
Yeah, I never understood. I would say, I would say Exorcist. Exorcist is the first
Brad,
one.
what got you into scary movies or horror movies? What's your first memory of a horror movie that made you think, oh, I'll watch something else of this?
Yeah. Wait, that I wanted to?
Was it
No.
anything
It's
to
not
do
that
with
fucking
aliens?
hard of a
But
question.
No.
you love Predator in the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver, so you do like Aliens.
I like aliens.
Yeah, so are you fascinated by the idea of
Of
different
others-
creatures coming here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. But the first movie to really scare me was probably, I want to say Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
The
So-
whole thought of somebody getting in your dreams and taking you out when you're like most
Yeah,
vulnerable.
that's so creepy as a kid.
As a child, I didn't like that.
So nobody here actually really was into like alien movies. I never was until this movie.
No.
Like they made a couple good ones after that.
This is probably the best. I like this
What's
better
the one
than
Tom Cruise?
War of Worlds.
But before that,
I
you
like
know-
this better.
Do you know where people really got freaked out? Remember the George Orwell in the 50s, that broadcast that went out?
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
that?
War of the
It was
World.
the War of the
Well,
World.
H.G. Wells wrote
Yeah.
War of the Worlds like in the fucking 1800s.
Yeah, but like that freaked a lot of people
People
out.
were jumping off of buildings.
Yeah, so I really think like the whole mythology between the flying saucer Area 51 is really like a huge cult of people who really believe in that. But like I believe there is extraterrestrial life. I just don't think they come in the form of a 10-foot alien. You know what I mean?
They
So, I don't
actually
really know.
they come in the form of just like these like top Instagram models, and
Probably.
that's what they're really that's what Instagram is. It's filled with aliens. It's
I would
amazing.
prefer an alien to look like they did in this movie.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. If you're gonna be from a
Because you
different
know it's an
planet,
alien.
Yeah.
What about the ones in Scary Movie 3? They got
What about do you like
dicks for fingers?
Independence Day? They kind of had
Ooh,
they kind of
they-
had the big eye.
I didn't love them. They were freaky with all the tentacles.
Yeah, but they did capture the big eye thing, right?
Welcome
The
to
weird build.
Earth.
Yeah.
And then he
That's
smacks
your,
him.
That's your Will Smith impression?
That was your Will
Welcome
Smith.
to Earth.
But they did it. But they did attack.
smell?
They did attack at the same time.
Are you just going to keep going with Will
With
Smith,
Will Smith?
impressions?
All right. So
Leave my wife's fucking mouth. Or what does he say? Fucking name out of your mouth.
Yo, Will, I don't think it's a good idea that you're gonna keep talking like this to your fans. I think people are gonna get very upset. Very upset. Guys, you should probably see The Happening sometime. Very good movie.
let's just let Brad do as many impressions as he wants to on a podcast, and just make that a podcast.
That could be a full podcast
yeah.
by itself.
So jumping back to the movie.
I would totally watch
where I
that.
think they start to believe that the aliens are in fact something, right? Is that if you recall the little boy he takes the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin's brother.
the baby monitor.
Take the baby monitor. That's right.
All right, that's creepy because I remember we all had baby monitors for kids when they were small. I don't know if you still have one.
We still do, yeah.
Yeah.
I had cans on strings.
That works, but they always pick up something. And recently, I took out my kids' old baby monitors after I watched this movie. I can still hear aliens from Bucks County. They're still talking from this movie.
Really?
Yeah. They do a bunch of clicks. They like. I think Hollywood just decided that if you're from a different world, you just speak in clicks and codes.
I would have loved like English to come out and say, "Hey guys, how you doing?"
Yeah, they just speak English.
Baby monitors are a real weird.
They
signal.
pick up on transmissions.
I remember being at my brother-in-law's house years ago when he had just had a son, and they had one of those video monitors,
Yeah, we have one too. Yeah.
and it picked up on a signal that was next door. It was another baby sleeping in his room.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was real weird. We were like, who is this? And it like somehow picked up the signal, so they had to tell the neighbor. But
My kids have Paw Patrol walkie-talkies, and sometimes it picks up on some.
It
random
does.
sounds.
I
always-
mine does too.
I always associated them with like paranormal stuff, like ghosts and stuff, because it's in there. But the alien thing, so they put it up to the sky and they could hear it up there. So
I think
as far as this movie's concerned, as far
Yeah.
as like spooky scenes, there's some really good ones.
yeah,
In the beginning, when he goes in to visit his daughter, Mel Gibson goes in there, And then, she's talking about, I heard you talking to Mom. I was talking to Mom. But then he looks up and you see that figure.
Oh, up on the roof?
Out on the roof.
Yeah.
And, that was the first scene. Was kind of like, all right, this is, weird.
Well, that's what I like about this movie. They do.
Yeah.
You don't see enough of the alien where
No.
It's all about what you think you saw, in a way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And the music, this movie would be nothing without its music.
It's tense. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Music.
There's
It's
not a lot of
suspenseful.
dialogue in the movie. It's very quiet.
No.
A lot of drawn out scenes.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson, who we all know how he is in real life. I think
He's
of the
still a great
recordings.
actor.
He's awesome, but
Yeah.
he's very calm, mild manners. I'm thinking the way he's talking to his kids, I don't talk to my kids like that. If they're annoying me, I'm like, shut up. But he's just like, okay, calm down.
Chris, are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And then,
I think Mel is a star in this role.
but
I really enjoyed watching.
It didn't end there. When he went out to the cornfield, the scene where he dropped the flashlight.
Oh yeah.
And then
Ooh,
the
the
alien
leg.
in the leg is walking away.
I would run like he
That
did.
scared the shit out of me when I watched that.
It's the little
when it
things. He
first
drops
came
the
out.
light and he's banging
Yeah.
on
No,
it.
and
And
he's-
it's
Yeah.
the build. The build is
Well,
so
because
suspenseful.
you don't
It's
know.
amazing.
It could be. Is it coming now? Is it coming
Yes,
now? Is it
yes,
coming now? You
yes.
keep asking yourself like.
Very good.
What about the hand at the end on his shoulder?
before that? When
Yeah.
I
he
mean,
visit-
that was one that got me. I'm like, ooh, I don't like that.
Well, before
You didn't
that,
see it?
when he visited M. Night's home, he says, "Just stay out of the pantry. I have one of them in there."
Also, I love how he just
And-
takes off in the car.
Yeah, well,
go to the
suspenseful,
lake.
but very suspenseful.
Take care of my dog.
Suspenseful, and he grabs the blade, the knife, and then I'm like, shit, and then that hand came out. Something about a scary hand always makes it like the long fingers and the fingernails.
Also, isn't that like a
makes
classic jump scare? I mean,
Oh,
M.
it
Night
is.
is just beautiful at
What are
building
your
up that
thoughts on Megan Thee
suspension.
Stallion?
He doesn't really just show you everything right
No,
away.
No.
No, it's what you think you saw.
Yeah.
It's the what you anticipate you're gonna see.
Yes.
It's
Thanks, Ursula. I heard that.
That was him.
Was it?
That was him.
that far is from out of space, out
Out of this world.
Out of this world.
That was
Yeah.
space.
that was Abigail.
Oh my!
But it gets into it. It gets to a point where it's kind of like I remember he opened up the book when Abigail here had that tinfoil hat on, and they were reading that kid book.
I haven't even been introduced yet.
This is fuckface.
Guys, remember Kareem from last week?
Abigail. I think the
he's
gig
back.
is up. It's not Abigail from the movie.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Halfway through.
Oh my God, you just got us pumped.
When you took off the tinfoil hat, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Kareem." Anybody's watching on YouTube now they know. But another good scene was
What's
when-
he doing here?
Another good scene was that he's reading the book with his kids, and it was like an illustration, and it was their house, and then you see dead family, and like
love
the
it.
flying
Love it.
saucer taking off. I was like, all right, because it wasn't until then that they didn't say they were going to be hostile. You don't know what they
Yeah.
were.
And Mel kind of realizes. That,
Yeah, that's kind of like, all right, they're here for.
And see,
They
I
wanna kill
completely
you.
forgot that scene when he went back. When
Me
he
too.
went, when he went over to the house.
Ray.
and he
Flashing
and he,
light back
and he
there.
cut the and he cut the thing's fingers off.
Yeah.
I forgot that
I know.
scene.
Me too.
Yeah. That's what
So-
I said. Like, there's a there's a lot that you miss when you think you remember a movie.
Also, it was 20 years ago. I couldn't believe that.
That's my point. But you
It
think you
holds
just-
up.
Yeah,
Couldn't
it does
believe.
hold up.
That movie was still spooky. Like
So-
I will definitely say. Sorry, I'm like not
What?
trying to jump the gun.
You
That
are
movie
jumping
to me,
the gun.
No, I'm not. This is not my official rating. I'm just saying in general. The movie has a very spooky feel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
For sure, like the tension that you get out of the characters, like you actually feel for this family in the end. Like you see
Okay.
a family that's huddled together, ready to go.
Speaking
Yeah.
of spooky, you know what's spooky? Just cornfields. Why are cornfields so scary?
Because they're empty.
have you ever been lost in a cornfield? It
was
is
like
the
a-
scariest feeling in the entire world. It's like,
Have you ever been lost in a
Yes.
cornfield? Really?
yeah.
I know.
Up in Lancaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, our aunt had lived in a farmhouse,
Sure.
and you would go into the cornfield and you go back, 50 yards, and you get turned around,
Oh, it gives me anxiety.
and you can't, you're a
It's the
little
same
kid.
thing everywhere you go.
Scary.
You can't see above.
Ooh.
You can't see above the stalks. You can't see a building or anything, and all you have to go off of is basically hopefully someone can hear you, and like guide you back to where you got
It's
to be.
like Harry Potter in the Triwizard Tournament. He
Because
just
it's-
can't find the
It's kind of like
trophy.
My word.
it's kind of like where
Long podcast.
it's like
Know
where
your
are you?
audience.
It was
Listen.
so scary.
If you want to talk about Harry Potter, by all means, start your
He's
own
in that
podcast.
maze and he can't find.
He
the
kept
cup.
trying to find segues to talk about Harry Potter, and it just.
But then the
wasn't
cup is a portal.
Yeah. So, cornfields are usually associated with like hay rides anyway.
Yeah.
Like ghosts and things like that. So.
Yeah, you got like children in the corn.
Yeah, there's a lot of
yeah.
stuff that takes place.
Yeah.
Scary
in
shit.
corns.
Yeah.
But aliens seem to be obsessed with going to rural America.
Yeah. Why are they always in cornfields?
But the only reason why they end up at the Brazilian birthday party is because the thing crashed.
Oh,
that's
really?
Yeah, that's
I
the
didn't
only
know
really reason why it went there. But I was thinking about that scene when it was walking by.
Oh God! It just gives me. I just got chills. thinking
Yeah,
of
that is probably the scene.
It's amazing.
Of
It is
all the
the
things we talked about.
I agree.
We've come around on that.
That's what I call my fright of the night.
Definitely is.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I don't know what became of that anyway. But that was the alien, and the only other time you see the alien is at the very end. They become very zombie-like. They board up the home, and
Right, it gets like very.
they make a
dark.
last
True,
meal. Do you
true.
remember they
That's
make
a
a
good-
last meal?
Oh,
Oh, that's good. They're talking about the.
And
yeah.
I thought about myself. If all my kids gave me like a list of everything they wanted, I'm like, I can't. We're having pot. We're just gonna have mac and cheese, guys. So he makes everything. He makes like
Frozen pizza it
frozen,
is.
yeah, frozen,
I
frozen
actually, I
pizza.
actually wrote that. I'm actually amazed that he had all those ingredients.
I know. Or the patience to even
In
make
his
it under
house?
that.
Yeah.
Under that pressure.
Like,
Isn't that the point? It's like
Well, so
Yeah.
take your
Chicken
time.
teriyaki.
you asked for.
Let's get at it.
You asked for spaghetti. Abigail asked for spaghetti. The little boy asked for French toast and mashed potatoes, which sounds actually pretty damn good.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd eat it.
I'd eat French toast and mashed potatoes.
I
Absolutely.
actually love you wrote down their last meal.
For sure.
Chicken teriyaki is Joaquin Phoenix, and then cheeseburger with bacon, extra bacon.
Yeah.
is mine.
Extra bacon.
Well,
So which one would you pick?
what would your last meal be?
Of these four?
Yeah, or anything.
yeah, I like.
Do I get to pick the whole thing? Because I know
Well,
what my appetizer
I'd be like
is.
trying to order from Clubhouse to get wings, and they're like, "We're closed, sir." I was like, "Come on, they're not gonna get you when you're out there. Can you just drop one more
Shout
order of
out
hot
to
wings?"
Newtown Finest Clubhouse.
Yes.
The finest.
Your last
Yeah,
meal
I
ever.
can taste that, dude.
That once again was Kareem, and you're blaming the wrong guy.
Well,
I'm just a baby.
Why do you guys keep looking at me like it's me doing
it's
this?
the way these headphones work. It sounds like it came from over there.
All right, I'm going to answer your question because I like that
Yeah.
question.
What would your last meal be?
Last meal.
Last meal, my mother's baked ziti.
Oh, there's baked ziti.
What about you, Brad? What would your last meal be?
Do I only get to eat one thing?
No, it's your last meal.
Oh.
You can have whatever you want.
Chicken wings and Jen's
yeah.
key lime pie.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That sounds
All
good.
right.
Hell yeah.
I think I do mom's meatloaf,
Ooh.
mashed potatoes, and chocolate pudding.
That's
Chocolate
a heavy
pudding?
meal.
Yeah. Well,
Why
I want
not?
to. Well, because if the alien kills me, I
go
want
down.
to chill over him.
Have you guys seen that?
Ooh, I
Sorry,
don't want a
Connor.
cheeseburger. I
I'm
want a good cheeseburger.
I'd have chicken Denise.
What the fuck is chicken Denise?
It's on a menu somewhere.
Would
It's
you
gotta
ever-
be.
Would
Trust
you,
me.
would you pair
Trust
that with?
me, it is.
Would you pair that with like a salad or a soup?
Oh, I do.
I would probably do.
I'm going on
wings
scene to
or
see if
rare
we can
steak.
find a
I
chicken
don't know.
Denise.
It wouldn't even matter. But the thing is, they don't eat anyway because you're not really in the appetite to eat, knowing that they're trying to break into your home. And then things get.
Yeah,
you know what's
man.
funny? Like you hear them break in, like the one alien breaks
Yeah.
into like the top,
Yeah.
top roof.
Yeah, that
But
popped up quick.
that's when Mel Gibson decides to talk to his son. Do you remember when you were born? And he says to him like. Imagine just hearing something break into the top,
Yeah,
and
just-
you hear like lamps shatter. Like, all right, this thing's already in here.
Yeah,
You
don't
better
have-
get downstairs.
You don't have time for that.
You know, he's trying to like get into like a really deep thought about it. But if you don't know M. Night Shyamalan and you're like, all right, I'm going to be introduced to this, be prepared for weird scenes like that because above all things, he's got a really deep twist story at the end of it. So he builds up everything. So this whole movie, Mel Gibson's faith has been tested. And it comes down to two categories. Do you believe in luck and coincidence, or do you believe in signs?
Right.
Or do you believe everything was supposed to happen for a reason? So was his wife supposed to be pinned to that tree so she could tell him the last words, swing away? And
Yeah.
that's where he lost his faith. And he goes, oh, it was just her nerve ending saying, swing away. You know what I
Well,
mean?
she did say a few times. So I think it's what is it? M. Night Shyamalan himself in the car mentioned
Yes.
something about if he had closed his eyes for 15 seconds before or after, he would have missed her because it was an open road.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's almost like it was almost like it was meant to be.
Talking about fate.
And then she even says the wife when he comes to see her, she mentions about how I just decided to go for a walk before dinner. It's like I guess it was meant to be. I think she says.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean to the point. There's a lot of references to that.
Right.
Was this?
It brings it down. This point was supposed to happen.
Yes.
And then actually, for some reason, the final scene's nice. It adds closure. He's in his, whatever you call it, the priest's
collar.
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
You know, as
he
an,
found his
as an
faith
ordained
again.
minister, I really take offense to you not knowing what that is.
So
What is that called?
you know what? It's just I can't talk about it. If you went with a brother, you got to go.
we have him on because he can kill vampires because he can bless holy water.
Yep.
And he knows exactly what to do in case aliens came down.
Very useful.
He's
And-
In a horror movie.
And the
Absolutely.
creeper, and the creeper monster just covets his juicy little thing.
My peach.
Yeah. We found a use for you.
I'm versatile. I'm like a Swiss Army
But the
knife here.
moment we don't have a use for you, to the trash you go.
You will bring it. You're gonna bring somebody else in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about M. Night? Because this has just been weighing on me. I
Speak
just
on
don't
it.
know if... I think he's controversial. I really do. I think he's like legitimate, just
What do you mean
controversial. Is he a good director, producer, or is he kind of struggling? So let's go through his movies.
It's really interesting. That's a great
Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs. It's like boom, boom, boom. That's a trio of movies.
Oh
that
yeah, you're
just
firing on all
hit.
cylinders.
Just
I agree.
blockbuster, absolute bangers.
Yeah.
Sixth Sense. That scene in Sixth Sense will go down in history as one of the best
Absolutely.
twists of all
That's
time.
his first
And he
movie,
also
too.
was
What a
called
twist
in to
that
do
was.
rewrites for She's All That.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the Freddie Prinze Jr.
Okay, so we got Sixth
serious,
Sense,
Clark?
Unbreakable, Signs, and he goes Village, which I actually
Village
saw
was
in
good.
theaters. I think with you.
Oh
It was
yeah, but
pretty
you
good.
started seeing him going down the slope a little bit. Wasn't as good as the other three.
Lady in the Water. It's like okay, it's creative,
Lady
but
in
it's
the
like
Water
is
was
it
corny.
hitting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, and I'm gonna get this in Lady in the Water. He writes himself into his own film as a prolific, famous author who everyone reads. In Signs, he's a veterinarian, a professional, successful veterinarian. There's a lot of people who say M. Night's a little full of himself,
Do you
little
think
bit,
his ego got back?
little bit of an ego on this guy.
Brought to you by People
Okay,
Magazine.
he goes Lady, and then he goes Happening, which
I don't think I
the
saw
enemy was literally wind. Like
That movie's horrible.
It caught the wind. The earth got upset and it made people kill themselves in the most horrific
I mean,
ways possible.
Brad and I almost walked
yeah,
out.
that movie's cringe.
Brad and I almost walked out.
Mark,
yeah.
the acting is terrible.
That's exactly
Hit
why
it-
the
hit
voice
it-
early. He's like, oh no. He's like, you guys seeing the wind?
So
It's
did-
coming. We're gonna die.
Is he independent? Maybe
always out of breath.
Maybe he signed a contract with somebody. It's like every time a great author, well, you got a deadline to pump out 2-3 more of these. So he probably
Every
just-
night I want it on
wait,
my
you know-
desk by Friday.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could stop there, but then his next movie is Airbender, which
I never saw it.
for all the Airbender fans, the cartoon
Took
is
place
amazing.
in Bucks County.
But he tried to do a real life Last Airbender. It is unwatchable. If you watch 10 minutes, the acting alone is atrocious.
You know, I think I stopped watching it because if the actual story of what he's talking about doesn't take my eye, I'm not going to watch it.
You talking about Airbender?
Connor
About-
thought it
and
was like a
any
blacksmith
movie,
for air.
any movie, but he's a formula He's a formula. I'm already looking for a twist now. You didn't
Right,
know that
you-
with
right.
you didn't know that with Sixth Sense or even Signs, and you're like,
You weren't
oh,
looking for
I'm
it.
not looking
Yeah,
for anything.
you're right, you're right.
And then you realize everything they were talking about leading up to that, and he mixed it with suspense music.
You think he
Yeah.
put himself in a hole? Do you think he kind of
Of
dug?
course he did. But he's like, all right, what big twist? And now
Yeah.
all you're doing is looking for that twist. And the signs, the alien thing interests me. And then the first movie he did, Sixth Sense,
Amazing. Yeah.
any ghost movie, and it took place in Philadelphia. And Bruce Willis, I'm like, I'm gonna watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Took me by complete surprise.
You know what? I don't. It's almost like I'm set up this argument: is he a good director? Is he not? But actually, I think the middle can be true. He was amazing,
Yeah.
and he kind of has fizzled out and died. And it's like that's okay. Maybe
That's fine.
Maybe he has a renaissance. Maybe he comes back with something.
How many
that just
how many
blows our
how many
minds
great
out.
bands?
I'd watch it.
Greatest albums were the first
Yeah,
1, 2, or
shit.
3. They're like, I got nothing
Well,
else great.
and
more,
you gotta
yeah.
think
Like,
of,
just
think of,
let that
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Think
exactly.
of classic horror movies and their sequels, right? The original is always the best, and then
Yeah.
everything after that is like a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2. Was
Although I will say,
I mean, top notch.
Jeepers Creepers 3 was way better than the first one.
all right.
Would you agree?
Well, this is nonsense that you're listening to.
You guys have this
dude. This is
fucking
malarkey.
sick fascination with the Jeepers Creepers
Because
series.
number 4
Just came out.
dropped.
Just came
God,
out.
we've already lost so many subscribers and listeners.
Dude, Creep Nation's out there, dude. What are you talking about? Yeah.
We just make we make crow noises.
Number 1 creep over here, right, Creep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Creep.
So wait,
Number
sorry.
one.
So then the movie comes. Let's get back on track with this movie, though. It comes to a head. The aliens break in.
They're taking over.
The alien or
Oh,
the
okay,
aliens.
sorry,
We don't
yeah.
really know exactly how many of them are in the house. So they go down to their basement, right? It's an old like chimney. I think what did he say? It was like an old
Coal chute.
coal chute, right?
Yeah.
Coal chute basement, and
The hand scene.
the hand. Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
Creepy.
that whole scene. You know what creeped me the most? That creeped me out about it the most was how he set up that hand scene when he's like, when Mel Gibson's just sitting there, he goes, "They're just making noise," and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like it was one of those moments where it's like, "Oh, they're gonna get in here somehow," and you were just sitting there waiting for them to bust in.
It was another flashlight scene too that fell.
I know, but it was just
He gets you with the flashlight.
that scene. I'm sitting at home watching it, and I'm just like, "Ooh, I don't like that."
That was actually edited. That was actually.
Are you
put
talking
in.
about Signs or Mr. Hands?
No, we're talking about Doubtfire with The Rock and Kevin Hart.
The hand scene in the basement where he grabbed
Haven't seen
Rory
it with you,
McCulkin was added last minute.
Was it?
Well, when he grabbed him like that, because the original one, I did some research on this. It was just the hand there, but no.
Oh, not
Rory.
on him?
No, and it was an alien going toodles like that, and then went come in the kitchen.
Dude,
What the fuck?
And it was kind of like
That's the twist.
that would have been my dream. Like, yes, trash this movie, trash it, because it
Oh.
was so good. It was so good. Now let's piss everybody off.
I would love to
Planet
hear.
needs me.
Yeah, and that would make sense.
Connor,
Kinda.
I
Kinda
want
like,
you-
My
the
planet
hand
now
comes in
needs
and just
me.
goes,
and the alien just shoots off
Connor,
into
I
outer
think
space,
you
and
need
everybody
to
waves
have-
goodbye
You need to have time at the end of every episode
to talk about.
where we
life.
just talk about how would Connor ruin this movie.
I'm-
I want to know your ending every time.
Shit, that could be a whole podcast.
Absolutely. I love that.
So it comes to it, and I don't think we ever really mentioned this, but and Abigail,
We're talking about signs.
I would have thought that you would say this, but
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
the entire movie,
She's not even
I
that
said I
young.
don't think I mentioned this.
the entire movie, she doesn't want to drink water because she says it's contaminated,
Yes,
right? So
she has glasses of
I
water.
guess the aliens try to break in. They turn the lights off to conserve battery power. They fall asleep, and they wake up and the radio's on, and it sounds like the aliens are leaving.
Also, why are they conserving battery power? That
You know
light
if-
could have lasted
do you know
until
if-
the next morning.
They didn't have lithium-ion batteries like we do.
Are you talking about the
Yeah,
aliens
what
or-
if? Are you talking about their battery life? Cream doesn't use batteries. Everything's plugged in.
He's like, turn off the lamp. We need to save it. It's like a fucking.
They didn't know how long they were going to be down there.
Yeah, but I would do the
Oh,
same.
shut up.
Listen, if
You just got logic.
Kareem, if shit hit the fan and
You
aliens
died.
came down to your family, you'd be the first to abandon them and run out into the.
Nah, I'd be like this. I'd sit at my front door.
He-
and I'd be
he
like this.
would've
He'd be like, probe me, please. Please probe me. Please probe me.
Kareem would be out there, ass up in the air. Please probe me, and that's when they said we don't.
They're like
do
this.
that.
They're like, we're good.
We're not those types of aliens.
All you hear is, whoa.
Just take me, and then Kareem would get all upset. Well, you don't think I'm good enough?
Yeah.
For you?
The alien would go.
Whore of the world,
He would come
starring
to
Kareem.
The alien would come to a line and not attack
Whore of
you.
the
Like,
world.
oh wait, because you over there and I'm over. Like Martin Lawrence.
And, all right,
I apologize to everyone listening.
we will. We're actually
Yeah.
agreeing right here, right now,
That
that
Kareem
we
would
will
be raped
do
by
a
aliens.
scary movie 3, probably 1 through 3, best takes.
Oh, no, they all get
yes,
one.
we will.
We have to do each one
Yes,
of
we
those.
will. We already said we're gonna do it.
So what do you?
The second one.
So-
Come on.
So wait, let's just real quick. Let's get to
God
where
damn
we
it.
need to be at the end.
How much time we got?
We're at so we're
Perfect.
good.
We're working out
Um,
well.
But so they think that they think that the aliens have gone, right? That the aliens have left the Earth, and so
Yeah.
and at this point, their son Rory Culkin. I keep getting the name.
Macaulay, just call him Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay
Who
Culkin,
cares?
brother.
Fuckface Medulla. Doesn't matter.
So-
The fuckface boy.
His brother was way more famous. Just call him Macaulay Culkin.
I don't know. His brother kind of. No, we don't.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
anyway,
matter. Keep going, Chris.
they come upstairs
To
it's
get his
daytime.
EpiPen because he's had like an asthma attack and not his EpiPen or his
Inhaler.
inhaler and,
No, Narcan.
and his
No, when the
It
alien
was
grabbed,
his
when alien grabbed,
There goes another
it was an
quote
no.
of your listeners.
He
No.
just OD'd on fentanyl.
it was an EpiPen.
Shut up.
It was an EpiPen. When the alien grabbed him, he put peanuts in his mouth. He had a peanut out.
Oh, that would have.
He had a peanut.
I'd watch that.
That's what
ending.
they. So it turns out the
That's
aliens,
the original twist.
The aliens came down and just fed all the kids like peanuts and gluten. That's what they're just like sending them.
That's so
That was the
fucked up.
poison. That's what they did.
Oh, that's what Signs was about.
Yeah, that's what it was.
When
About.
the alien's cradling Macaulay Culkin, he just has a bunch
Hollywood,
of
here's your turn. You can
smothering
make this
them in
film.
his mouth.
Can you imagine if it was a nut allergy in the end? Oh man, that would be.
That's what I want.
Oh,
You know,
I want
honestly, to bring it back, what's really shit? I'm just thinking of the fucking alien just shoving them peanuts.
Gluten.
No, but you know, you look at the aliens, like they were easily defeated, right? Like with water, and so that goes back to and that's actually referenced in this movie, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. If you watch that movie, the aliens there actually their demise was just simple like bacteria, like simple germs.
That's what happened in War of the Worlds.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
that
talking
was- yeah,
about.
Yeah. So.
H.G. Wells. That's what I just mentioned.
Oh, I didn't realize War of the
Yeah.
Worlds was the takeoff of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they've come all this way. Their technology is far superior,
And then
that's what
something
kills them.
easy kills them. Right?
But
And then we find out it's water. It's
But
the water that
isn't it like what is now North America? When they Spaniards came over, they thought they were aliens because they were on horses and they had armor and they had they've never seen anything like this. And then what the alien? What? Yeah, it's true. Because Native Americans never saw in certain parts never saw any of that. And so they literally in the ships they've never saw a ship. They were like, what they really thought in writing it says they thought they were from a different planet.
God, can you imagine?
And what they bought, the quote unquote aliens, which were just Spanish people, was actual like common cold and killed a lot of them. So imagine why can't an alien in these movies they never bring anything that could kill us? You know what I mean?
You've never seen Prey.
I need to start watching that.
Oh.
But anyway, to get to it. Great movie. M. Night is a genius, especially if you've never seen this movie. He does a great job of incorporating a great storyline
It
I
holds
like
up.
the pacing,
It
too.
holds up really
into
well.
scary stuff. It's not just mindless scary stuff.
Yeah.
He's a deep he really. I believe he was a genius. Or
He
probably
screws
is.
with your nerves.
But there's only so much you can do
Yeah.
with what he does.
There's a large expectation out of you, right? How do you top the Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
Unbreakable, and Signs?
He must have had those lined up.
You make glass.
I think he wrote all those. But you know what's wild about him? Sixth Sense was the first movie that got think about what he was pitching before that didn't quite do.
Was that his first
He had
movie?
another movie before Sixth Sense,
He
but I'd never
definitely had
heard
stuff
of
that
it.
he was trying
Stuart
to
Little. He wrote Stuart Little.
Did he really?
Which is
That's a
Wait,
crazy
no,
change
did
in
he
genre.
Did he really?
You're
Yeah.
making that up?
No,
Yeah, that movie's fire.
M. Night wrote Stuart
Wait,
Little.
what?
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox.
Which is another. There's another twist. In
Is there a
that,
twist
that
in that
you're,
movie?
Yeah,
You're supposed to
your
believe-
brother's a mouse. So
Oh, wow.
no,
He's the master.
He's better
of
than being a
twist.
rat.
he wrote
So.
Stuart Little. Yeah. So
All right, so
I still don't
I'm
believe
just kidding,
you.
he's
Are
not.
we? Do we want to start rating this movie?
yeah. Well, Brad, why don't you go first? Cause
Yeah, Brad fucking
mentioned-
shot his load a half hour early.
It doesn't matter. People tuned out by then anyway. Go ahead.
No,
Brad.
my honest opinion, I think there's there's moments of tension and spookiness, but for me personally, it's not too spooky.
yeah. I'd say,
Wait, what is the second?
All right, so they're spookless,
Patent
which means
pending.
Yeah, it's not too spooky.
they're spookless, which means it was a complete dud, and the movie itself sucked, and you would not recommend it. Then there's not too spooky, which maybe had a element of something that was like, oh, that's kind of weird,
I
and
got
it was
spooked
all right.
for a moment.
And then
Yeah.
Spooky is a good movie, and it holds up for its time. But you could see it would probably did a lot better when it came out. And then there's Way Too Spooky, which is tough
Well,
to hit off the record.
Okay, I wish there was a half a score.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'll give it a spooky because I'll tell you, it was one of those
good.
where I'm gonna go jump in my car later tonight and drive out to some farmland.
You're gonna be driving home. You're gonna hit some farmland out there.
Right.
And if you're by yourself, not talking about
You'll
it,
probably get abducted by an alien.
yeah,
That's
I
my
can see
guess.
that happening.
Yeah.
and that's where Kareem's selflessness is gonna come in.
Yeah, Ursula's
Ursula.
gonna pick you up on the way home. Dude, if you saw that
Thanks for the
fucking thing-
beer.
Yeah. That thing's spooky.
Doesn't look thankful though.
It's happy. It's just got a really bad tooth to gum ratio.
You actually, this is what the alien. Did this say signs on it, or it was just alien?
No, it just said
Because it kind of looked like that.
I think it was
It did.
Sinister Alien. I think it's called.
Now the alien in this movie was kind of CGI-ish. You couldn't make too much out of his
Yeah,
face.
that didn't hold up very well.
No, that's the only part that didn't
Yeah.
hold up.
Yeah.
But apparently it kind of sprays something
Yeah.
that he was trying to do.
Um,
So
As a second guess, I'll give my rating. I got to tell you that I'm again that scene just scared the shit out of me when I watched it the first
Yeah.
time. Middle of the night, was watching it. But the whole movie's more like science fiction horror. So I'm gonna give it a spoo.
spoo.
A spoo.
You can do halves.
You can do whatever the hell
Yeah,
you
they
want.
spoo.
I'm gonna give it a
so
spoo.
far, we got two spooky.
I'll give it
I'm
a
gonna
spoo.
I'm giving it a spoo.
I'm gonna give it a spooky too. I think it's
Yeah, all things considered.
there's nothing. There's no other movie out there like that. I don't think in the way that it's done.
Aliens.
And if that were happening, I mean, I'd be I'd be scared out of my mind. I
Right.
mean, and it's I'd say it's a spooky movie.
I
yeah.
would say spooky because I always try to put myself in position if I'm just watching this for the first time by myself.
Right.
Multiple scenes, it kind of freaks you out, and it's a great story that keeps you captivated. The
I
entire
agree
time.
with that.
I want to change my answer. I'm going spooky.
Yeah.
I still got chills yesterday
Yeah, I
watching
agree
that.
with you. That's
I
what
think
kind of
this
like
is-
swayed
I'm going
me.
spooky.
This is 4 spookies across the board.
What do you call that?
I don't know. That's like a jackpot, but it's not.
A quad
It's
spooky.
still not even a way too spooky, which is hard to hit. But
Quad spook?
yeah.
spooky.
So overall, if you
That's
average
stabtastic.
if you average
I don't
that
know.
out,
Does that work? We'll work on it.
if you average that out, it's really really good. So
4 divided
spooky.
by
Great
4.
movie.
What's that?
Right, we need
Spooky is
4.
spooky.
Spooky.
There's some equations. some-
this is like the equivalent of the Olympics, like putting they're all putting up like the 8.0, 8.0, 8.0.
Yes.
Great.
Is that a
Landon.
quad spooky? All around? Quad
Wow.
spooky?
It's never been done before, but it has been now. So
Yeah.
I think
First of its kind.
highly recommend it. Great movie. If you've never seen an M. Night Shyamalan movie, definitely watch the first 3 and then cherry pick whatever you want to pick after that if it takes you. But if you like alien movies, I've only seen a few alien movies. Third Encounters of the
Close Encounters of the
Close
Third
Encounters of the Third
Yep.
Kind was a classic one. E.T., which
E.T.'s great.
I don't think it's a
Love E.T.
horror movie, but this movie was the most suspenseful,
Yeah, I would
scary
agree.
alien movie I've ever
If
seen.
you're into
I
scary
don't know.
horror movies,
Aliens is pretty.
Yeah.
different feel.
Very different.
different. That's just straight up sci-fi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's
No,
scary.
I agree with you.
Could be horror.
But are you
So-
talking about like
So what kind of drink would you?
Well, I have to represent Warwick Farm Brewery right here in Bucks County, and they have a brand new Harvest Ale that's out. Now,
Oh, yeah.
this is their glass. I would love to say that's the beer in here, but I drank it all. So,
Hell yeah, that's
but
a
that's the
ringing
one I
endorsement.
want to pair with
Classic,
it. So,
classic.
shout out to Warwick Brewery, right off Alms House Road. We go often. Right on a big old farm.
Yeah.
You can't get more Bucks County than that. and-
Perfect spot.
It is awesome.
Perfect spot for an alien invasion.
yeah, absolutely. So, you, Chris, would you
Stop
agree?
being favorite drink.
I would agree. I think that's
Yeah.
a good one.
And now, Brad, you have something.
I also brought one. Shock Top Twisted Pretzel.
Let's twist that one off, Brad.
Let's twist this one
Oh,
off.
it does twist.
It
There you
tastes-
go.
It tastes like a. Smell that.
It tastes like
Take-
tastes
you
like an
want that?
alien, dude.
What did he just say?
Tastes like an alien.
Taste that. That's for you. How about 4?
Now, Kareem, if you had to think of a drink, what are you drinking?
Oh my gosh, it does taste like an alien.
I want to give a shout out. I'm disturbed by that comment. Guys, my drink of the night. It's not contaminated.
Wow.
To all my hydro homies.
Wow, it makes
Straight
perfect-
H2O.
That's right. H2O is what killed the alien.
Ooh.
That sounded good.
All right.
Was that
well,
refreshing? Is there ice in there?
Wait, well, hold on.
What is this, ice?
So Dasani, Nestle owns all the water companies, right? There you go. Hey, this was a lot of fun, right?
Oh, wait.
So on behalf of Connor, Ursula, is it Ursula?
Yeah, Ursula the dumb alien. You stupid,
And
stupid alien.
and Abigail Breslin.
I hate him.
I'm Chris. This is Way Too Spooky.
Thanks for
episode
listening.
6,
to episode
Signs.
6. And we'll
Thank
be
you
back.
so much.
We're going to be back next week with a real special one from a different location.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
tell you more. All right.
Later,
we'll see
all you
guys.
creeps and creatures.
Later.